Hello, fellow Toolboxers. Welcome to episode 349 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox. Thanks for listening again. We're getting up there, 349, about to hit 350. Today we're having an interview with Liana Montecinos, who's got an office, a colleague in Maryland, part of the DC chapter, and is one of the people setting up the DC chapter conference for that local AILA chapter. So we're going to talk about her practice, humanitarian work, an interesting background, and the DC chapter, which covers a lot of different states in the area, Virginia, Maryland, and the like. A really lively place, and obviously a lot of business goes around there, so it's good to talk about. Before we start, I want to thank our special sponsor, e-immigration by Serenade. If you go to serenade.com, with the C is a spot to go to get to know this vendor that we have in the field. They provide all sorts of support for immigration lawyers, including forms and office management stuff, timekeeping. They have just a whole menagerie, if you will. I don't know sure how best to put it, but a whole long list of different add-ons and basic stuff that come with it that can really help you take your practice to the next level. I do recommend doing a test run with them, talking with them to see what they're all about. So all you got to do is go to serenade.com, see, and talk with them, do a test run, and see what's different, what they have, or if it's the first time using form software, getting to know a software, what to look for, they can help you with that. Also, we have a lot of free material on the Toolbox community page. If you want to become a member, you just have to be a lawyer. Send us your name and bar info. We have a white label documents like checklists and stuff that you get there. Private CLEs that are not for the public, about D3 waivers, about abandonment issues, about how to deal with Iranian cases, 245I, marketing, all this kind of stuff that we have behind this free. It's not a paywall, it's a free wall, but it's just a wall for lawyers only. It's on a website called Circle Ed Associate Community page, so you can get it there. Before we start, I always have to say the information here is not intended as individual legal guidance. Please consult with an attorney about your case, but y'all know that already. Let's get it started. Hi, Liana. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, John.
I appreciate it. So why don't you just back up one more, don't we back up, and just give me some information about how you became an immigration attorney. What's your background that got you here?
So, I became an immigration attorney because of my personal circumstances. I was in removal proceedings, I won asylum, and that experience had a very impactful before and after for me, to the extent that I decided to help more people. I also worked with detained children at Care Coalition, which is now the Amica Center for Immigrant Rights, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing the children detained really impacted me in a way that I just wanted to help more people in similar situations.
How old were you when you went through proceedings?
I was a teenager. I believe I was 18, 19. Uh,
And did you have a lawyer at the time?
At the beginning, I didn't, but later on, we were able to find an attorney. We went to lots of consults, and only one attorney said, if there is some sort of justice in this world, we'll be able to get you something.
Wow. So usually it's always I like that as a question because you're on this side at the business side, but then looking at the other side, what is it that got you to choose this person? So they had more hope for your case of something being possible. You had more confidence in them.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
A lot of times, as a law firm owner, we see the side of it where you're getting hired, but it's always interesting to see why someone chose you to be their attorney. You've gone through the process of hiring an attorney before, so was it that the person had more confidence and what you had more confidence in what they're saying, or had more faith in you? Was that what caused you to hire them as opposed to the other people you spoke with?
I think it's definitely a factor because as immigrants, we are often abused by the legal system and many times by attorneys. And so, someone who's able to empathize and to serve, not just be transactional, I think it's
Yeah.
important. And that's something that I think, and I hope I provide to my clients.
Now, how did you, as you were young, might not remember, was there a particular way you found him? Was it the phone book or referral or any other kind of way?
So my mentor, I had very little family support, and a lady whom I now call a mentor, but before I used to call her my angel. I met her through the university that I attended, and she made it her business to help me find an immigration attorney and to help me cover the legal fees. So she was able
Wow.
to find the attorney who had an ad in the Washington Post.
Oh, very cool. If they had an ad in the Washington Post, they must have been expensive.
Yes, she was.
Okay, so it's cost you a pretty penny to advertise there. Okay, so you went through the process. How long did it take for your case to go through? Was it during a time when things were backed up, or was it still kind of timelines were normal back then?
So it took about 5 years, I want to say. It's sort of a blur for me because
Yeah,
I was going through a lot and having to retell my story over and over again. Um, it's something that I try to put to the side. I have my
yeah,
immigration file and I don't open it.
yeah,
One of my family members recently came seeking asylum, and my husband had to provide, look through, and search for the documentation and provide that to my family member because I just don't want to look at it, don't need to
yeah.
do that, and I have someone who can do that for me. So,
One of the issues that's happening with all the delays is that you have to prep a client and to relive all this stuff after having the initial consultation where you do it. And then the day of, it gets rescheduled a lot. At least that's what I hear a lot on the West Coast. And then so it's like, it's prep. You have to relive the chaos. And then, 3 years later, you got to do it all over again. It's just like, it's constantly just hitting you over and over again the way the system's designed.
yes, and it's very unfortunate because the system re traumatizes people, and many of our clients do not have mental health services. Even if they wanted to, they just can't afford it. And
Yeah.
so, one of the things that I try to do as an attorney is protect my client and to ensure that they have safeguards. There is something that's called matter of MAM, which an attorney can file if a client is incompetent or if a client has mental health issues that require safeguards in removal proceedings. So I try to do that, especially with clients who have retold their story many times. To So one of the safeguards could be to use the written declaration instead of making them testify again.
Oh,
So that's
interesting. I didn't know you
one
could
of
do
the
that.
ways in which we can help. Yeah.
Interesting. So right now, when it comes to your caseload in your office, is it you do removal defense in general, which sounds included in there? Or how does your caseload look like? Like prior the primary stuff that you handle, or the bulk of it?
So most of it is removal defense, but we also have affirmative applications, consular processing. Uh, we also have family-based petitions.
Hmm.
I include in affirmative all of the U visas, family-based petitions, naturalization, and citizenship. So we
Yeah,
do a little bit of everything except business immigration.
yeah. It's usually the cutoff right there.
Yeah.
Um, how big is your firm? How small? Like I was a full solo until like 2 3 years ago. Now I have like associate, but it really helps. Like how much staff do you have? Because just there's a lot of paperwork required what you do and a lot of talking and information collection.
So we're tiny but mighty. We It's me and one paralegal. We used to be bigger, but I reduced the size. I'm very traditional when it comes to the finances of
Yeah.
managing a law firm, and so it's just me and a paralegal, and we have hundreds of cases. But I was a paralegal before, so I know how to handle all of the forms, all of the mail.
Yeah.
She helps with that, but she's on vacation right now, so I'm handling that for her.
I hear you. It just gets overwhelming because, like, especially when you do a court work, because it's just a lot of paperwork that you have to prep and motions and memo and this and that, a lot of things you have to keep. And then you're on the court's clock. And you can't, like, what I like, I do affirmative or I-130s and stuff. It's like whenever we get around to filing, we get around. But when it's court, it's like, okay, there's a date, we got to get done. And sometimes they have to chase after clients just to get a birth certificate or something like that. It creates a lot of stress. What do you do to be able to handle like the third party stress or second party stress that you get from the issues that you have to deal with these kind of cases?
So it's very important that I stay organized and that I work little by little on all of the cases. So multitasking,
Yeah.
and I have a bunch of calendars as well to make sure that I meet the internal deadlines. So I give myself internal deadlines,
Hmm.
and the clients always misses those deadlines. So it's important as a safeguard to make sure that we meet the statutory deadline with the court. We make sure that our client is very well educated on the process and the documentation that we're going to need. And we also go as far as communicating the legal standard and what is required for them to meet the legal sufficiency of
Hmm.
whatever form of relief they're filing. And so we find that that helps a lot when the client understands we need your civil documents, and we don't need letters of you being a good person, but we need letters of you, people who witness how you were beaten, or people who can attest that this happens in your country, home country. So very important to know what is required and what isn't, so the client is razor focused on the evidence that will make a difference in their case.
Now, your office is headquartered in Maryland. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
I guess when you're in Maryland, it kind of touches on DC and Virginia. It kind of like sucks into all the surrounding areas.
Yeah, it's the DMV area.
Yeah.
I find myself going to court in Virginia, in Baltimore, in well, those are the only two states where there are immigration courts, but also in DC because I do some SIJS matters.
Mhm.
So yeah, we cross the states all the time.
Are there any particular demographics you just see you run into more because you're from in that area?
So most of my clients are Latin American, but I have clients from Africa, Asia. Um, and throughout my career, I have helped clients from all over the world
Mhm.
except Antarctica. I haven't had one from there yet.
Even within Latin America, are there any like particular like Central American countries or other countries, or is it just because your area? Because everyone just goes there. Because I was so surprised to find like in that area you can find one of every kind of person. I'm in LA. There is everyone here, but there's still some demographic more like the Hispanic community is Mexican primarily. That's what I grew up with. Are Mexicans or Iranians, but nowadays it's a lot more Central Americans. It's the nature of things. But growing up, it was like Latin Americans are Mexican, but people in New York, they're used to Puerto Rican people who speak Spanish. So it's like there's no Puerto Ricans here or Dominicans. We don't run into that rarely in Los Angeles. So it's like interesting to see. But DC's got a little bit of everybody.
Yeah, so most of the clients are from El Salvador, Honduras. Now we're having many more clients from Venezuela, Peru.
Yeah.
Those are the clients that I've seen wanting our services.
Yeah, Venezuela, I'm getting a lot of just people contacting us just with the parole program and just like the nature of what's going on there. But Peru, like not as I mean, it's a small country. What country are you from originally?
Honduras.
Honduras. Okay. Well, very cool. So, how do you do all that work, and also you're active in your local chapter, the DC? Is it DC bar or Washington, LA chapter?
Ayla DC, yeah.
LA DC, which is a lot of work itself, setting up conferences and stuff. How do you find time to do everything all at once?
I am very organized. I think that helps me. Time management has always been a skill that I have needed to master in order to be successful in this field. I started as a legal assistant, then a paralegal, and I worked my way up. And so I also think that volunteering is such a huge part of who I am as a person. I have been volunteering my entire life, whether that be in my local church, the nonprofit I started, or the local AILA chapter. I like connecting with people, and so it's important for me to
Hmm.
do volunteering work and to remain connected.
Right. And tell us a little more about what's happening at the DC chapter event. I mean, it's coming up pretty soon, isn't it? Is it October, November?
It's on November the 15th at the Washington School of Law, the American Washington School of Law. And it's going to be very exciting because it's four tracks. We have litigation, affirmative business, and best practices in the law firm. And I'm going to be presenting in a parole in place panel, which is part of the affirmative track.
Hmm.
And we're really excited. We're putting a very robust conference, and it's very affordable. So we invite everyone to join us.
That's a real good one. Is it one or 2 days?
It's one day.
Okay, 4 tracks, one day. I mean, it's packed full of information. Wow. Is there any government officials coming by?
So there is one panel that is the ERO ICE panel. I do not know who has confirmed to attend. We also have the judges panel. I know that we have invited several judges. I don't know who has
Yeah, you
confirmed.
never know until really the end what the government's going to do.
That's right.
I mean, we have AILA national conferences where, like, all of a sudden the day before, like, we're not going to come. Like, they just get in a fight with us with AILA or something like that. Uh,
And if they do come, they ask not to get sued.
yeah, that's pretty much it. That's funny. So, did you handle lawsuits as well, or deal with like mandamus claims or federal litigation?
Not yet. Federal litigation, yes. We have done Fourth Circuit appeals. I'm actually working on my second Fourth Circuit appeal. Mandamus, we haven't done. I have actually drafted it, but then the client decided not to pursue
Yeah.
it. So I can't say that I've done one.
There a lot of people are filing in the D.C. area, that court, and they got really strict on mandamus. But when it comes to like the meat, like mandamus is just like hurrying it up. But like the meat and potatoes, like those appeals for BIA appeals, all that kind of stuff. That's a if you're doing court, you got to have that in hand, to be able to do those kind of stuff for sure.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. We do lots of appeals before the BIA. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If someone wanted to reach out to connect with you, is there email, website, or social media that you prefer to give out?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. If they search for Montecinos Immigration Law, they'll find me. And my phone number is 703-389-7883.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Stay on the line for a second once I end the show, but it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Well, that was nice. Hearing what she was talking about, what Liana was talking about court and stuff, is one of the main reasons I don't do court work because it is like so intense. It's not only the busyness of the work, but it's also the information you're getting, the client interaction. It's just a lot to handle, and you got to be a really strong person, just emotionally, to be able to handle the impact of those kind of cases. And the court kind of annoys the hell out of me having to wait 10 years or something like that for a hearing. I can't handle that stuff. But I'm glad we got partners and colleagues in the field that are doing this. I mean, more and more people. I mean, last time when Trump came along, I saw so many people join the bar just to do this kind of fight. So we need more people, and the business is there. So that's not the down part. We need more immigration lawyers that know what they're doing, and also learn what they're doing. So the conference that she's doing in DC is going to be a really good one. I do recommend people here to go to that one if you're East Coast, especially. You could drive out there. My associate's over there. She's going, and she's gone to the last two, and she always says it's a really good chapter, Ayla. So even if you're not in that area, you can still join other chapters of Ayla. Like I remember Rome District. I was part of New York for a while, just see what's going on there. Listserv and Northern California. You have to connect with people really well, so it's a good thing to do. Just add one. Having said that, if you really want to learn marriage-based immigration, 212. I was talking to one of our students today. He really enjoyed our marriage immigration law course, the 212 2-hour seminar we have in there that goes through all of the inadmissibility statute, because those are the main lawyer things that you got to use to spot issues beforehand. Because like affidavit of support, joint documents, you could just figure that out later after your client hires you. But first and foremost, you got to catch that inadmissibility stuff to see if you have a case or not, whether you need a file or not. You do not want to get surprised. And what I found is most people, and I'm looking down, but you have not read INA 212. And the first time you read it, you're not going to understand any of it. You probably have to read it 15 times to get it. And I've read it 20 times, and I just have a course where I just tell you what you need to know there. So you don't have to bother trying to decipher what this crazy writing is that's in there. And that's just one part of it, 18 plus hours. Email me, info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com to learn more about the course, schedule a video chat about it. It's for lawyers only. If you're switching practices, if you want to just learn more about this, there's other parts too, practical stuff, how to run your firm. We have it all there. But having said all that, I look forward to the next episode. Have a good one. God bless. Be safe. Bye bye.